gonna look at setting up the Bollinger Band, the moving averages, and we're gonna also add the support and resistance, otherwise known as demand and supply, on the daily chart. And then we're also going to look at the hourly chart and basically add the support and resistance on the hourly chart. Because if you notice the daily chart, right, when you look at it, each period separator is actually an entire month. And on the hourly chart, each separator is actually a day. All right, so we have the monthly showing us basically what could happen that month, and the hourly, which is going to show us what possibly could happen that day, right? So that's what we're going to do. So first of all, I don't know if you guys have, I like to use a zigzag. If you don't see it in your navigator, you can also get it from the marketplace, right? If you click on what's this guy here, terminal, and then go to market, you can select free. You have options here. Select free, and then type in zigzag, and you'll come up with a list of indicators. I would suggest maybe trying, which one was I looking at? This one looks like a pretty good one. You can maybe try that. All right, so you can add it if you don't have it, and when you click in it, okay, you can read about it. You can look at the screenshots, what it's going to do. This one will actually tell you how many pips the zigzag moved up or down, right? From the start position to the end position. It'll give you the amount of pips, right? And you can look at the reviews. And to install it, you just click on download. And when you click on download, it will actually add it to the market tab inside the navigator. You should see it in here. It should say something like zigzag, right? Instead of being out here. But I think most MetaTraders already come with one, zigzag, right? So if you don't have one, you can always add one, right? Okay, let's close that. Okay, so we're gonna add our zigzag, and what I do with my zigzag is I'll set the color to fire brick. Where's fire brick? Fire brick, and I set the width to number 2. All right, and the inputs, you leave it as the default 12, 5, and 3. All right, and just say okay. Notice it gives you a nice little, you know, zigzag, showing you the W's, the M's, whatever, right? Head and shoulders, as some people trade by the head and shoulders. All right, so you add that, and now we're gonna add Bollinger. Bollinger bands tend to be in the trend section. So you just double click it, and I set mine to green, and the period I use is 20, deviations is 2, and I apply it to the close, right? And levels, just add and type 0 there, and I set that to green, and I make it a solid line. The parameters, I use it as a dash line, right? So what you'll see when you click OK is this. See, the dashes are on the outer bands, and the solid line is on the center line, which is your deviation, your standard deviation, which is the same as a 20 simple moving average, right? So there you go. There's our Bollinger Bands, right? And then we're going to add the moving averages, right? The first one that I add is the 5, and I set that to exponential, and weighted close, right? I set that to a light blue, deep sky blue, I guess. And the width to about the third one, right? So I add that, boom, there it is, see it, light blue. And then I add another moving average, and it's gonna show you the last one that you added, right? So I just change that to 15 instead of 5, and I make it black, right? There you go, there's a black, there's a 15, there's a 5, 15, and a 5, and the 20 Bollinger Band, all right? So the next one we're gonna add, moving average, we're gonna add is the 55 moving average. That's what I use, right? And I make that blue, right? Say okay, there you go. The last one I'm gonna add is the 100, right? I'm gonna make that dark, well, orange red, right? So what happens is I actually use the 55 and the 100, let me close that, to determine the trend, right? So when the 55, which is the blue, goes above the 100, which is the orange, goes above it, notice the trend goes up. Now let's scroll back. Notice when it's below it, the blue is below the orange, the trend is down, right? The trend starts to change right there, right? So that's how I use those guys to help to identify the trend. Plus, I also use them to identify major support, resistance areas, or hidden support and resistant areas, right? That sometimes you tend not to see, you know, with the naked eye, but these guys kind of find them for you. Okay, so that's the daily, and that's what the hourly looks like, right? Go back to the daily. Here's the daily. Okay, so we're gonna zoom in a bit, right? And we're gonna see this is this month. This is August. From here to here is August, and you can see we're nearly ending out August, right? This is the candle for today, and it's a red candle, a bear candle. All right, and this was July, from this period to this period. So we're gonna look at what happened at the close of July to find our hidden resistance and support areas, right? So this is how I do it, right? So pay attention now, pay attention. All right. So what I do is, first of all, I draw a Fibonacci retracement, right? So you always go from left to right. So I draw it on my zigzag, left to right, because this was the last zigzag before it started creating a new one. This is a new one that's being created right here, and this is the last one. So you go to the last one from left to right, right? So I'll draw that in, and now what I need to do is identify my resistance zones, right? So first of all, I draw a horizontal. You see where the 20 Bollinger Band, the center line, crosses over into August, which crosses this separator line, July, August. So right here, I draw a line right there. I'm gonna change the color. Let's go with a dark orchard. All right, so I draw a line right there, right? And then I identify the outer bands where they intersect with this the separator line, July and August, right? Draw another horizontal there. The upper outer bands, and then I go to the lower. Intersection is roughly about here, right? So a bit lower. Right, then I identify where the 55 crosses or intersects with the separator line, vertical separator line, right? About there. And I also identify where the 100, which is roughly about here, right? Okay, so now we got the Fibonacci, right? And we got our horizontal lines. So now let's create our zones. So first of all, go back to the first line we created. We notice this guy is near the 61%, right? So we're gonna draw a rectangle. I go from here, from this horizontal to the 61%. If you let it go and then double click the corner, so you can then drag it. So I bring it to that guy, and I usually go all the way back to the beginning of the last month, which is here, right? So as you can see, you notice candles came up, and where did it stop? Right here, right? Boom, stop, and reverse back a bit, right? So we've identified the resistance zone, right? Then we go and draw another rectangle, go to this guy, and we can see, we know 38.2 is a major resistance area as far as the Fibonacci is concerned, just like 61.8. That's why we drew this rectangle to 61.8. So we're going to go to this horizontal here. We're going to draw from this horizontal up to 38.2. So you let it go, double click the corner, and then drag it. All right, so 38.2. All right, this is a zone, resistance zone. Okay, so here we have a little zone right here between these two. Right, so we're going to draw another rectangle between these two lines, the outer band and the 100 moving average. Boom, another zone right there. Right, so if you notice, when the price point was coming down, see how the 5 EMA didn't go below this zone, right? Came in, broke through that zone, came down, and then stopped here, then bounced back up. Look at this, a big candle. It took a big candle to break through this zone, right? Tried to come back, but got pushed back. Then this candle here, nice entry. Boom, boom, boom. So we got in here and taken profit roughly here. All right. And then let's draw our last zone up top here. So we notice this guy, this line is just below the 100. So we're going to draw from this line to the 100, right? Because you know the 100% Fibonacci is not a major resistance area. So that's our final zone. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 zones. And this is basically identifying the resistance and support zones for August. All right. I mean, we could shrink down and look back, and we'll see that they go all the way back. Look, we're to go back. All right, see? So it lines up with previous areas right there. Right here, if we were to go back some more. See? So it identifies it for you, so you don't have to second guess. You don't have to guess. You know, it's showing you, it's telling you, hey, here are the resistance zones. I've identified them for you. Okay? So now what I do is I'll right click I'm going to save this as a template, right? So I can then use it for other time frames. So I'll right click, go to template, and then say save. Because I'm using USDJPY, I'll save it as UJ, right? And then say save. I'm going to override it because I already got one, right? So now let's look at if we look at the 4 hour, see how the 4 hour now, right? The 4 hour, each period separator is 1 week. So you can see the beginning of this week, it came down into this zone, got bounced out, and then boom, hit a ceiling in this zone, supply area, zoop, right? And then bounced out and came back to our 20 Bollinger, right? Most probably going to touch it. It could bounce back up, or it could try and break through it and come back down to our support area, right? So we're going to focus on the hourly. So let's go to the hourly. Remember, the hourly, basically each period separator is a day. So we want to see what the potential resistance areas are for today, right? So we're going to basically do the same thing as we did with the daily, right? We're going to identify these resistance areas, resistance and support areas, right? So first of all, draw the horizontal at the 20. Well, sorry. First of all, draw the Fibonacci retracement, right? So we already have a Fibonacci from the daily here. So what I do is I try to keep it from going to the border like that. I bring it over a bit. So if you drag it to the left a bit, make sure the zero aligns with the top, right? So now you can see this, and you can also see the daily, see the hourly, see the daily, right? So we've drawn our Fibonacci. Next thing, we identify our intersections, the 20 Bollinger where it intersects the period separator. So I'm going to give it a different color, this horizontal. So you double click it, right click, go into horizontal properties. I'm going to give it a magenta color. That way I know this line applies to the hourly time frame. All right. So we draw resistance area there. We got another one here at the 55. Another one here at the 100. Another one at the lower Bollinger Band. Boom. Go a bit higher. Roughly about there. And if we shrink this down a bit, we'll see another one is up top here, the higher Bollinger Band. Right? Okay, so now we're going to create our zones for today. Right? So we always go to the first one. We did the 20 Bollinger Band. All right, so we notice here's a 38.2, so we're going to go from this horizontal to the 38.2, right, of this Fibonacci we just drew. So we're going to get our rectangle. We're going to give it a different color. So if you just drag it, double click the end, right click, go into rectangle properties, and let's give it a yellow. All right, yellow. So here is our zone right here. Zoom in right here to the 38.2, right? Resistance area. And we have another resistance here right here. All right, so shrink that back down a bit. Click on our rectangle. Oh, we're going to go from the horizontal to the 50 moving average, right? 50 moving. I like to draw it all the way to the end of the period separator. So the same for this one here. To the beginning. All right. Look at this. See how this guy came to this support area. Pause. This one had a big candle to break through that guy there. All right. We also have another area right here, right, at the 100 moving average. So I would say we would take from this horizontal to my 75% moving average. I have a 75% moving average. I think you might have 76.4, whatever you have. Go to the next one. So you go from this horizontal down to here, right? And we have another zone right here, which is close to our 88.6. So what I do is I'll go from 88.6 down to 100, the entire area. Right? And then we also have the upper area. Right? So we're gonna go from 11.4 to our horizontal. Okay? Negative 11.4. All right? And that's our zones for today. Okay? So I hope you understand that. Right? We did our daily, drew up our daily, right? Took a look at our 4-hour, and then we drew up 1 hour for today, right? So basically, we're expecting today, we're expecting the price point to respect these yellow support and resistance areas, zones, okay? So you could pause the video, try and do what I did and practice, and you know, it's very simple, nothing difficult. If you enjoyed the video, rewind it, take a look, and you know, try and practice it.